And we're live.
Yeah. What's good, people? It's your boy Icarus Gray.
And it's your homeboy WordPlay TJ.
And this is the No Rhyme or Reason podcast, where we talk about everything.
Everything for no reason at all.
We have all awoken from our turkey comas.
Rico Drizzy. Rico Drizzy.
Y'all
We got a
know
lot
what
to
we
talk about. According to the Associated Press and some other media outlets, Drake makes another legal move against Universal over Kendrick Lamar. And this comes from the initial legal move that he made, where he alleged that Universal falsely inflated the popularity of Kendrick Lamar's diss track, Not Like Us. So there are a couple claims here. Artificial promotion. Again, according to the Associated Press, Drake asserts that UMG manipulated streaming platforms and airways to boost Not Like Us. And then there's another claim that has recently come out of defamation. So the lyrics of Not Like Us contain allegations against Drake, including accusations of sexual misconduct. This also has some implications or some impacts on three different things. So we're going to talk about like how it impacts society today and how it impacts art, and then finally how it impacts business. And so all of those things we're concerned about in this conversation. So let's start with the impacts on society. Where did you land after this news came out?
I landed on the take your L, dog. Just take your L. But also, I do understand only the defamation. I personally would not want to be called a pedo.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't.
Geppetto.
I would not want to be called a Geppetto.
Yeah.
And I probably would go after you for that if that would be a thing of like, hey, bro, you, even though like I think our allowances for what you can say and what you can't say are wild, because you'll accept somebody talking about your woman, talking about your, you know, your family, all kinds of stuff in a certain way. But this does seem like a line crossed, and I personally would not want that to be what people are saying about me.
When I first heard of this, I thought it was incredibly weak, so to speak. Not in the sense that he's not able to exercise his legal rights, but this feels like yet another L. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it
Socially.
I feel like if, I'm not going to go through the names, but there are a lot of names of people who are still working with certain allegations over them. And I think that he could have just chilled out, came back out, made some music, and moved on. You're not winning the Kendrick fans that are Kendrick fans. You're not winning the people who were on the fence about you in the first place. So just move forward. Like, this just continuously kind of puts your career in a certain spot. You're going to have your fans, but I feel like it's even making his fans societally be like, I don't know how much behind I can be any of this.
We should be clear that this is not a lawsuit yet. These are legal proceedings. These are fact-finding, seeking all of the information in order to file a formal lawsuit. I feel like the reaction to this is a little extreme, to say the least.
Society's reaction or Drake?
Society's reaction to this is a little extreme. One, because this is going to take a long time to unfold. I also believe that we don't know what we don't know.
Right.
And Kendrick could claim defamation too, right? Like,
yeah, if it were that deep. But it's like, for him, it's like, I'll take the knock on the chin for you saying me and my wife have domestic issues, because on the same hand that you're saying you can't prove this, you can't prove that about him. If there's something on his record or a police report, something
you
got
that.
Public record stuff.
Yeah.
But neither one of them like kind of went that route, because this was supposed to be about music, which is what makes this so annoying. But there are a lot of things business-wise that this could change for the better and for the worse, depending upon.
Let's stay with art for a moment.
Okay.
Because you're annoyed.
I'm very annoyed.
Why are you annoyed for art's sake?
I'm annoyed for art's sake because what this does, or what this could do, is change how people do beef or just how you spar. Because I could make a song about how rappers aren't on my level. And in that song, somebody could go and listen to it and be like, I feel like he hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
And it's like, who are you? It's not specifically at you. It would start to kind of change like how we approach even general sparring. Because is my sparring going to hurt your feelings? Is my sparring going to make you feel away? How can I actually approach a beef? Because most times in beef, especially in battle rap, you do research. You go and you do research on a person. And then you talk about that. Am I not going to really be able to do that? Because am I just going to have to like make stuff up? But even then, that could be a problem. Because if I'm making stuff up because I'm trying to like not say what's real, then you're going to sue me for defamation because I'm lying on you.
Yeah. So this does create a legal precedent where the art is liable for what is said in the art. And it's not the government. So freedom of speech does not apply to private citizens. You can't just say whatever you want to say about other people and it be non-factual. And there may or may not be consequences for that, right? So my issue is that with decades of beef, whether we agree with beef or not, it's a part of hip hop culture. It is a part of rap. It is a part of the art form to go back and forth with somebody. We've never expected Biggie and Tupac to sue each other.
No, we never expected them to sue each other. We also never expected them to take it to where it went. But I think the place we're trying to create,
it went far.
It went far, but the place we're trying to create is a place where it's just like, they said it in the song when Kendrick was talking, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were doing all this stuff that I kept criticizing both of them for. Y'all keep saying this is sparring, but y'all saying some stuff that does not denote sparring. Do we actually have the capacity in art to actually spar? If we're here, it feels like we don't, especially at like the highest level of artistry, right?
Do you think people are going to actually accept that though?
Actual sparring?
Yeah.
No, because I told you before, I'm like, do y'all realize that on every song, you will talk about a rapper, we will say something about rappers in some way, shape, form, or fashion. It's the proverbial all y'all.
Yeah, people don't want healthy competition.
But it's always there, and no one like notices it or cares unless I'm putting a name on it. It's just interesting to be in a place where this is the response. Because I really do think that if you just left it alone, you wouldn't find.
So this whole situation proves that he's not like us, for one.
Mm-hmm.
That is 1,000% true. But I think the piece that is missing here, he has every right to expose the business. But he is a beneficiary of these business practices. So if these business practices are true, then wouldn't he be guilty of the same things that he's alleging that Universal is doing? 100%. Wouldn't they have done it for him?
100%. Like, do you not think that Highline Bling, God's Plan, that they had no payola or no streams that were certainly inflated?
That's the piece that I'm talking about. Is like the grace comes in when it's like, well, wait, he might be exposing something in the business that everybody needs to know.
Yeah.
And if he does expose this part of the business, then what are the outcomes of that? What are the positive outcomes? What are the negative outcomes? Let's start with the negative.
The negative is this kind of really hinders song growth in a certain way.
Break that down.
So basically, the situation he's doing now is like that these people all promote streams in certain ways. So if we're going to the place where you're trying to remove payola, right? Y'all are already very reactionary, i.e., why we're here in the first place and the reaction to him in general. So I can only imagine if, so say Kendrick dropped, and I think they were saying like the estimated numbers were about 400,000 or something. Mm-hmm. Say he dropped, say it's like now 200,000 or 100,000 buys. Y'all have a different perception, right?
Let me put this in layman terms because I don't know that I'm tracking.
Okay.
You're saying the negative impacts to the business is streams are now, because they're not being inflated, streams would now be, let's say if they, you got 200,000 sales first week, you're more likely to see the true numbers of those sales.
Yeah, and people look at you a certain way. You actually don't care about the numbers, but you're influenced by the numbers. And I think that if the numbers are more accurate, you're going to start making assessments of people that are not what they should be.
I think that's actually a social benefit, the numbers. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think it's a negative just because I think that, I don't think society has reached a place where it's like you're okay with somebody that's really, really talented to sell a certain amount.
So I think another negative for the business is, according to UMG, they've stated that suggesting that UMG would do anything to undermine any of its artists is offensive and untrue. That's a quote from the Associated Press.
Yeah.
And I agree with them. Mm-hmm. I agree with them because Lucian and his son, who's now the head of UMG, why would they, in the middle of a beef, a highly popular and contested beef, why would they not prop up every single song that came out of this beef?
Because it all goes back to them. It doesn't make sense for them to, this is more of a way for them to say, again, we don't really fool with you like that.
The only way I can see that happening is if they earn a lesser percentage from his work than they do from Kendrick.
Yeah, I don't know. But again, it doesn't make sense for them to do that. But I'm saying, that's what it would be saying if they were doing that. And that don't make sense, much like what you're saying, to a business when we were all glued to the seats.
What are some of these benefits in business?
Benefit-wise, it will help independent artists. Because if you're looking at a more realistic stream, so say somebody's bigger than you, but slightly more popular, right? I mean, them selling 100,000, if those were their real numbers, and you selling 20 is a better perspective to me.
I feel like independent artists could do a class action lawsuit against every single major label.
Oh yeah.
If the facts come out that they're using bots, if the facts come out, what's funny about this is Lucian was pissed last year. That was one point that I didn't make. Lucian Grange was pissed last year that artificial streams and bots and AI were propping up people who didn't make music organically, right? So you make just noise tracks or sleepy time tracks or, some type of artificially made song.
Yeah.
And then you prop it up with some bots. Lucian was pissed about this last year in the press. If this comes out, he does not have a leg to stand on.
No, because
he was pissed at TikTok.
I don't know. It's so interesting to be at this place to where I never thought that a beef would end here and end in a place where, like you said, there's L's all around with small, very, very weird wins for underdogs in a certain way, but also what does this say about the music industry as a whole? I'm interested to I really do want to know what y'all think about what it is Drake is doing. I already know it's just gonna be, just put the L's in the chat if you feel or L's down in the comments if you feel like he took an L, because I do, and I'm probably sure that you do. But anyway, that's enough of this BS from Drake, and all I have to say is
stop it, Aubrey.
See you guys next week. A 1 and a 2 and peace.